Kia ora and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with New Zealand artists. I'm your host, Mandy Yarkich. These conversations are intimate, uplifting and insightful. The guests on the show have absolutely enriched my life, and I'm sure their stories will have the same effect on you. Thank you so much for joining me to listen to these amazing people speak about what drives them, the way they work, and their personal takes on life. Sofia Athineou is a full-time artist of Greek heritage. She is based in Tāmaki Makaurau Auckland. Her practice is mainly in glass, a medium she sees as having many sensual and optical qualities. Surrounded by the dramatic bush of Auckland's west coast Waitakere Ranges, it's easy to see the inspiration behind Sofia's incredible glass sculptures. These pieces represent vitality through light, texture and colour and appear to blend into the ever-changing landscape. Elemental forces such as wind, fire and water, and the constant movement and natural patterns of these elements are captured within her sculptures. Sofia talks about how she adjusted to New Zealand life when she immigrated here at the age of 23 from Greece, how she became a full-time artist after raising her children, the work she has exhibited at sculpture shows around Aotearoa New Zealand, the challenges she faces of living on a single artist income, and also we talk about the pricing of her work and the many hats she has to wear to keep the money coming in. She takes us step by step through her fascinating glass casting process using open cast moulds, and she explains why she prefers not to polish her work. Kia ora and yasu, Sofia.
Kia ora, yasu Mandy.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome, and we have met a couple of times, I think, in the past, various avenues. But sitting down together and having a bit of a laugh already and having a nice chat is going to be great. I can't wait.
Excellent. Thank you.
So you were born in Greece and spent the first sort of formative years of your life up to 23 in Greece. I spent some time in my 20s working in Alonissos.
Wow. Nice.
And I loved it. Very fond memories.
Yay.
So, can't wait to hear your story. So can you tell us about your childhood in Greece?
I was born and raised in Athens. I've got a younger brother. My father was an aviation engineer and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I loved my childhood, Actually, my favorite part was playing with my friends.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I was a sporty kid. We did a lot of sport. My family, my best friend, Adigoni, their family was more into the arts. Her father he's actually still a painter, an artist, and he was the first sort of professional artist in my life. He's a man, Aristomenes Tsolakis is his name, and he's a man who never really went to an art school. And that, in a way, gave me a lot of inspiration. And I don't know, I'm a person that I like going against the grain. And so an artist who didn't go to an art school was a appealing thing to me in a weird way. Yeah.
That's so great and such an inspiration.
Yes, it was. And it still is. He still is, even though it's, he's done a whole lot of other artistic jobs to survive. Even that, has helped.
And as a child, were you experimenting and getting creative?
Definitely, yes. I remember my father was experimenting with photography, and he used to turn our kitchen or our bathroom into a dark room. So that was fascinating. My mum would drag me to every sort of a museum sort of art class for kids that they had, and to theatre and all sorts of art. My mum is really crafty and arty, and she would really drag me to a lot of these things just to get me into it. So, yeah, a lot of art. Even though we were not really an arty family, we're more of a sporty family, as I said. Yeah, it was more of a, it was always around me. I love being creative. I've always loved it.
And were you at high school starting to kind of develop your skills and explore art in a big way?
Eventually, yes. I wanted to be a pilot. That was my dream. And the way you go to university in Greece is it's free, but you have to end school with specific subjects. And so I was in the physics and maths and all sorts of other subjects to end up being a pilot. But at the time, my dream was sort of crushed, because even though it was to become a pilot in Greece through a Greek institution was to do it through the Air Force. And it was the first year, my year was the first year that they accepted women. So I was really empowered. And even though I was not really a good student ever in my life, I started really going hard at it, up to the point that a tutor told me that, hey, you know that they accept women, but in every other position apart from being a pilot. So almost in the middle of the year, I instantly quit. I was like, well, that's not for me then.
Really?
And I took the arts, path, which surprised everyone. Everyone was like, you're going to fail the year. You're halfway through. I was like, I don't care. They almost didn't let me. But I was like, okay, if I can't do what I want, I'm doing something different.
Yeah, fair enough. Make a stand. Yeah. And hopefully that's changed now.
Yeah. Well, no, it did. It did. Now there's a...
Oh, what a shame. I wonder how your life would have panned out if you'd become a pilot.
Oh, I would have loved it. Actually, in fact, it's never too late. It's still in my mind,
That's right.
As long as my eyes are good enough to do it, yes, it's in the plans.
Good.
One day, girlfriend, I may come and say, hey, do you want to come on my plane and let's fly around? Maybe not a commercial flying pilot, but yeah, why not?
Yeah, totally. It can absolutely happen. And I'm sure it will, knowing you.
Yeah.
So how did you come to, developing your own art practice? And did you actually go and study art?
I studied 3D animation years ago, before Toy Story came out. I did a 3-year diploma course where we had to learn, we had to watch film and do direction, courses to be a director. We did live drawing. We did all sorts of they put us through a lot of different courses. And so that was my sort of more professional way of getting into the arts. Now, I loved what I used to do. The problem at the time was that the 3D animation programs kept changing. I mean, I did one full year course on the same program as the Toy Story was made. But at the time, it was such a new subject that the new companies would come out and new programs would come out. So I could never really become really good at what I was doing. I had to learn new programs all the time. And so that was exhausting in a way. After I had my kids, I realized that I wanted to be with them. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And so it became even harder for me to go back to work after, because I had no idea. 2-3 years later, all the programs had fully changed. Technology had advanced so much that I was a newbie again, in a way.
Yeah. And
so that was when, during my kids, I used to do murals. I would call kindies and play centers and all sorts and say, hey, can I show you my artwork? And I'll come and paint a wall. But my deal was I'll bring my kids with me. So pack my little kids and off I went. I did a few of these, and a couple of them are still around. Somebody told me, actually, maybe one in Papatoetoe in a big kindy there. So, when the time came to go back to doing 3D animation, I was... Plus, I think the fact that that I wasn't expecting that I wouldn't like sitting in a dark room. That was something that when I was studying, I didn't even think. It didn't even cross my mind. Being in a dark room next to a fridge freezer room, because at the time the machinery had to be in a freezer room to do the job. We were talking big machines. And quite isolated. I'm a social person.
Yeah.
So I needed that. And in a way, what I do now, it's really similar to what I was doing in a way, but now I can touch it, It's real, it's alive, it's 3D. It's not something in a computer,
Yeah, you can see the connection. Yeah. So going back to when you were 23, when you left Greece, you had one child at that time.
I met my kid's father while I was in Greece. We moved to England for work and adventure, I guess. And by then I was pregnant with Leon. I had Leon in England. Then we decided to move here because of my stepson, Bray. And so moving here within a year, I had Maya. So 3 kids under 20. Yeah, I was 23 years old by the time I had all 3 of them.
Wow, that's quite young.
I didn't have the first one. It was like a present.
Bonus.
yeah, my present kid, yeah.
So how did you find coming to New Zealand as a Greek woman and then sort of discovering your creativity here?
There's a lot of freedom that I liked, a lot of acceptance. I have to admit it was hard because people are different. I mean, that's obvious. We're all different from different parts of the world. I was always being told that I'm too loud, too much, I had to tone myself here to the point that now I go back to Greece and they say to me, wow, you're too calm. So
really?
I'm too loud here, too calm there. It's an interesting thing. It took me a long time to find really true close friends. I found that hard. But joining Play Center, I met that was my first experience with real true friends, through kids basically. I mean, Kim is one of my girlfriends from then. She's your friend as well from here.
She lives here. It's so good.
Yeah. And so, I did a lot of, during bringing up my kids here, I took a lot of art courses. I did harakiki. I learned how to weave, which I absolutely love. I learned how to do wood carving, which I love. I continued my photography, which I started, I guess, by seeing my father playing with photos and photography as a kid and all that, the dark room. That was really interesting. I did a few courses of photography, black and white photography in Greece. I did. There's a lot of art in my life, and any opportunity there was to go and join a class.
And that would have been such a great way to make connections with people in a new country.
Yes. The majority of my friends from that time are through my kids, through Play Center. And,
And were you thinking that you wanted to be a full-time artist?
Well, I thought I was an artist being a 3D animator in a way. Yes, I always, as a kid growing up, I had, I think it was three things in my list: being a pilot, being an artist, and being a midwife.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting mix.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always loved doing all sorts of different, totally different things, like growing up, as I said, I did quite a lot of sport. I was in the national team as a teenager for diving, free diving. So even on sport, I've gone from, ballet, tennis, swimming, volleyball, running, all sorts, and I keep doing. I've got a lot of interests, and a lot of them are lurking in the background, but every opportunity I have to learn something new, if I'm into it, I'll definitely go for it. Yeah, the more things I know, the better my life is at the end.
Yeah. So you have sort of, through that journey of creativity, it feels like you've come across a medium that really excites you. And that is glass.
Yes, the beautiful, beautiful material. Yeah, I did a course, as I was saying, when I was doing harakeke and wood carving. One day a course came up about glass casting at Art Station, the old Art Station. I had no idea what they meant by glass casting. I thought it would be hot, and I've got a bit of a fear for pain. I'm not, even though I can handle a lot of pain, I figured out lately in my life, but I was always like a little bit scared of getting burned. And so I went a bit apprehensive to the course. But yeah, once we started and the first object I made, I just fell in love. I was like, okay, that's me.
Really?
Like it was a sudden decision, you know?
What did you love about it?
The tutor at the time, Jo Nuttall. Hello, Jo. I remember her giving us an instruction, which was, whatever you make it simple. Sometimes simple is better. And I made a really small, simple shape that when I finished, I was looking at it going, wow, check it out. Look what I made. I was showing everyone. I was excited. I was announcing to everyone around me, that's my new job. Like, once I make up my mind about something, I'm making my mind about something. And I go so hard at it that until, things need to be really bad in life for me to quit. I'm not a quitter. So, yeah, I knew I liked the medium. I loved the shape. I'll show it to you, actually. I'll send you a photo.
Yes, love to see it.
And yeah, that was it. Like,
you were hooked.
I was hooked. I went into our carport at the time and started working. And then the carport became what my ex used to call a garage. And I was like, no, it's my studio. And so, yeah, I'm still in the same space. We've got a couple more sheds, studios, I call them, at home. So I've got at least 2 big spaces at home where I can do my work and spread my wings, spread my mess, actually, because I'm a messy person when it comes to creative spaces.
Like many of us. And so when you actually went to that course, that was the beginning, and since then you've been making glass.
It was I think it was either 2 or 3 nights, 2 or 3 hours every Thursday night for a term. I don't know, 10 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. And I did 3 of these terms. I did, that was it. It wasn't many hours. But you see, I was one of the few people, actually I was the only one who kept going back to cast more and pay extra money to Art Station just to hire the kiln. One day, the first time actually, after the first casting on the second course, which was more advanced from memory, just so, the tutor just was teaching a bit different types, and so more advanced. And so I remember doing our first cast and saying, oh, there's tons more space in the kiln. And I spoke with Jo and I said, there's more space. Can I add more next time? And she said, priority is given to everyone. And then, yes, if there is space. So I remember one time I went home and I just destroyed myself the whole week. And I came back with these huge works to cast. And I remember her saying, what are you doing? You cannot be making all these big things just like that with no much consideration. And I can see what she says today. But I think my impulsivity of doing, things had to come out, and sometimes it's good to create volume than one amazing work, You learn a lot.
Especially while you're learning.
Oh, yes, a lot. So I made a lot of huge works then, like almost 1 meter long works. I went straight up.
And a few mistakes, I imagine, at that time.
Oh, tons.
Yeah, which is kind of good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to learn, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. Sophia, could you describe your glass sculptures to us?
This is a part where I always struggle, but they're more free-flowing, depict the elements, fire, water, the wind. I get inspired from my surroundings, My shapes, I have to say, are shapes that they've always been inside me. In one of my trips at some stage back home to Greece, my mother gave me a whole box. Actually, she always gives me different boxes to go through and chuck things. I've always been slightly a bit of a hoarder. So in one of these trips, I went through all these books and I found shapes that I use today in my drawings, which fully surprised me. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't, because they are me. They come.
It's in you.
Yeah, they are. So these works are more free-flowing, more abstract, definitely abstract, colorful, and some of them big. I mean, the bigger the better for me. If I could go without making anything tiny, anything small, I wouldn't.
Really?
Definitely. I mean, even my big works right now are not big enough for me. But they're big enough for my body, for carrying the molds and for doing what I do, you know. A few years ago, I cast a huge work, about 1.5 meters. But the mold was so massive, and at the time my partner was away, I had to call my girlfriend, Jenny McLeod, another glass artist, and my other girlfriend to come and sort of help me roll it and push it into the, you know, the whole idea of me, like I had to pre-plan where I was going to cast it on the road in a funny shed that is on the road in my land, and I emptied it and I did it there in order for us to roll it, and the 3 girls push it into the van to take it to a kiln big enough to fire. In fact, we couldn't even do the job. I had to call my neighbors last minute and say, hey, give me a hand for 5 minutes, please. Yeah. So size is a huge thing in my practice. I mainly do my little works for experimenting on how to go for the bigger works. An easy big shape for me, well, it's still tiny for me. It's about like 1 meter works, or just under 1 meter. But the tiny ones, the tiny works that I make them so I can please everyone, put it that way. Because I can see I've got a lot of followers, a lot of people who want to buy my art, and a lot of them cannot afford it. And so, yeah, I make small works and I make quite a lot, but for all these people and all my galleries, because not many galleries can say yes to my huge works.
No, that's right. And that's a lovely reason to be making some smaller scale work so that it is accessible.
Yeah, well, I'm an art collector as well. And so, you know, I mean, luckily I've got a lot of art friends that I love their work, and quite often we do swapsies.
Yeah.
You know, can I have that? Would you be keen on swapping? Or, you know, I'll buy it off you slowly or whatever.
It's so good.
And so, yeah, I understand that part.
Your work is pretty colourful. And I was just saying to you before, it's very much, even though the scale varies, it very much feels like it's the same artist. It all feels really connected. To me, it feels like it has a softness, but it's also powerful and strong.
Yeah.
Is that how you see it?
Definitely. Thank you. I'm glad you see all my work connected. The latest work I did, it was really interesting. I had a big work at Sculpture on Shore, an outdoor piece. My first kinetic work. This work, I had a lot of people commenting, actually more than a lot, like maybe definitely more than 20 people or groups of people, because I like in these big shows, especially after spending so many hours in the studio creating the work, I like going and hanging out next to my work and seeing people's reactions. Sometimes I don't talk to them, other times I do. But talking to people, I realized a lot of them knew my work, but they didn't click. They would talk to me about these other artists that they absolutely love and blah, blah, blah. And then I'd pick it up and I say, hang on a second, I think you're talking about me.
Really?
And it happened with a lot of them, yeah.
Well, it is. I guess the kinetic side of things is different to your other work.
It sort of is, but that work specifically, if you see it, it actually has my shapes in it.
Yeah, it totally does.
You know?
The only difference maybe is that the shapes are quite encased.
Yes, for the first time, actually, in this one. And that was because I wanted people to grab onto the sculpture and rotate it, you know? And quite often people have rings or things, or or they whack it with their hands without really thinking. Actually, this is glass. So I had to do it this way on this one. Thank you. Well, you see, I love stained glass, even though I have zero sort of interest in working in it. And so, this work was a little bit more towards the stained glass, but in a sculptural way. And it definitely was not thin glass. I cast them quite thick. All of the pieces, they were almost 2.5 centimeters in thickness.
Wow.
Which, as I was telling people, this is really easy shapes for me to cast. Like from a technical casting perspective, that was a really simple casting project. And they're quite thin for me, for my standards, because my work is solid. My work is, like, especially the bigger pieces, they're big, thick and solid. Yeah.
That piece is called Wisdom.
Yes.
Where does that title come from?
Actually, I wanted to call it Sofia, but because Sofia means wisdom. But I didn't.
Does it?
Yes, but I didn't want people thinking that I'm using it because of my name. I find that I've gained a lot of wisdom lately. A lot of things have changed in my life, and I had to do a lot of work within me to change things and better myself and my situations in life. And so through all that, I've lost a lot of people. I walked away from a lot of people. I've gained new people. To me, this specific work has 6 different optical angles. And it's basically 2 different shapes that actually two different shapes that when you put them together, they create a different shape. And so the 2 shapes, one is more on the pinky, sort of yellowy, orangey version, and the other one is bluey, greeny. And so it's about having 2 totally different things that when they come together, they create something else. It's a tricky thing for me to explain actually what's in my mind quite often. And I had a lot of conversations about the subject of that work with people. And I mean, it's about the wisdom of knowing, getting to that wise stage. And to get there, we have to stuff up quite often. Like if we don't learn through our mistakes, we just don't learn. And quite often we may do mistakes, but we think we've learned, but we haven't, So it's a broad subject, especially that one. Some of my works come with a subject, others definitely don't. The majority doesn't. I've done political works, I've done all sorts of works, and I've done works that have gone out there that they are collage or material or photos and material or, and plastic, all sorts. But certain works have a theme, others don't, I don't like controlling what I feel and how I work. I just work.
And you have been involved with many of these New Zealand sculpture on shore exhibitions over the years, which is amazing. And that is a biennial event, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And
apart from this time, which took 5
after
years
COVID.
later.
And that is to raise money for Women's Refuge in New Zealand, which is a fantastic cause.
Yes, definitely.
So
definitely.
How did you first get involved with that, and how do you think your work has evolved over the time of those numerous sculpture on shore?
I treasure big outdoor sculpture exhibitions because, as I said, I love my outdoor big works. And there's not many places that we can exhibit these big works. And there's not many galleries that let us exhibit big works indoor. Years ago, I think it was 2010 or 2011, Genevieve Beckcroft, who started one of the first ladies who started sculpture on shore. The exhibitions used to happen in her garden. She bought my first big outdoor work, a 16 huge thick 16 pieces of glass hanging on a stainless steel rod. And so after I met her and I visited her garden and she talked to me about sculpture on shore, I think I had heard it before, but maybe I didn't have the confidence to apply.
And that's such an incredible spot right on the cliff looking out to the Hauraki Gulf. Do you actually respond to a particular spot that you've been given? I've always wondered that. Or do you make and they find the spot?
Yes, this is how it happens. I mean, it was interesting this year when I went to install for them to guide me in the same exact spot that I was last time.
Really?
Yeah, especially since we're talking about different curators. Last one was Anna Hansen, who put me there, and this time it was Sally Lash. So my large works, a lot of people ask, oh, it's different than last time. And yes, it is different. I've got all these ideas that I want to get out there. And the first, as I said, was 16 pieces on a stainless steel rod. When you walk away from the piece, you can see that it is one of my shapes. But I loved the challenge of hanging it. Then the next lot started going on posts and having big works on posts. Basically, all that came because for many years I used to apply to big outdoor exhibitions and get decline after decline after decline. And every time I asked for give me an explanation, give me something, give me a comment, I would never get anything from any curator anywhere. And so one time I think I wrote it with big letters in front of my submission, and I said, in order for you to read these, I need a comment, anything. And I still got the same sort of email, generic email. Thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. Too many artists. No, you didn't pass through. And it made me angry. And I remember it was Botanic Gardens. And I called them and I got the receptionist or whoever I did. And I had a big rant. And can I please speak with the curator? I blah, blah, blah. And the lady said, oh, look, because obviously I can understand that they were paying the curator or the curatorial panel, And so she said, okay, let's talk to me. What did you submit? And I explained to her and she said, look, I see one problem straight away. She said, kids will climb on it. And so that clicked. And I thought, oh, okay. So that alone, little comment really helped me, And so I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll raise them up.
Yeah.
I'll raise them up. And I started making bases. My ex started making wooden bases for me. I didn't really like what he was doing, but in a way it was what I had. And so, eventually, lately I've been, anything sort of like that goes on metal bases. My mate Chris Moore makes the majority of my metal bases.
Oh, it's so lovely that you've had that sort of history with that show and that your work has developed through it, I guess, in some way.
Yeah. I mean, the latest one is, look, there's so many ideas in my head and they have to come out. And quite often on huge works, due to the budget, I mean, I do have a patron. Her name is Sofia Athineou. So, I have to have the money or I have to somehow find the money. We're talking tons of money, especially now these days that we don't have. I used to always work with gaffer glass. It was a New Zealand made glass. Now they sell it all over the world. But I think it must have been either 2017 or 2016 that they sold to America and moved away. So since then, the glass has jumped up in price. And I'm a person that once I get to use a product and I'm really familiar with it, I don't really like trying other glass. There is a lot of different options around that I could buy. Still quite expensive, and they react slightly different. The glass that I use has 45% lead in it to make it malleable, to make it soft, in order to go to tricky places in the kiln, in the molds. And so my raw materials are expensive. The dusts that I buy, silica and the mulcoa and all sorts of other things that I buy are expensive. So it is not for the light-hearted. It's an expensive project.
It's very difficult, isn't it? I mean, I was talking to Tanya Blong actually about that. I don't think there are any other professions where people work and work and work and work and then don't get paid for that, and then potentially don't have any financial reward after that if they don't sell a work. And that's tough.
That is more than tough. The money thing is a huge
and especially for you when the materials are so expensive.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. This is why I sort of, in a way, it helps making smaller works because I can get a lot of that in the small works and get them out there.
So you also this year had quite a few sculptures in Art in the Park, and that was at Eden Park.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty amazing spot you had, I thought, because as soon as you enter, all of your works were,
my outdoor works
outside and sort of at the entrance of the exhibition. And that looked amazing, I thought, and sort of really had a lovely contrast with the sports stadium and your beautiful, delicate but strong works.
Yeah, thank you. I love seeing my work in public spaces. I've got a big work coming up for the Mangawhao train station, the new station that's coming up. I've collaborated with Tessa Aroha, who is the designer for the entrance, and I've created a big work that hopefully we'll see in a couple of years being installed. But no, I'd love to see my work out there.
Yeah, and it suits it so well, doesn't it? And just going back to that commission, I absolutely love that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God. I don't know what it is that has drawn me so much to it, but it's 53 triangles, isn't it?
Yeah, we cast a few extras actually, but that commission is 53 triangles depicting the volcanoes, basically the 53 volcanoes around Tāmaki Makaurau. So that's an interesting project. Yeah. It was a good collaboration.
It's kind of got an amber color palette and sort of.
Yeah, well, it had to be like volcanic. It had to be volcanic,
which works so
and
well.
Talking with Tessa, she said reds, and luckily I got 5 different shades from citrine, which is the really light yellow, to light orange, red, and amber color, which ended up a bit darker, but in a way it suited us. Yeah. During that, actually, after I finished the commission, I delivered it. I mean, still in boxes, sitting in somewhere.
But it is really a strong, gorgeous colour. I'd be very interested to know how you're going to put those together in the railway station, because they're not very big triangles, are they?
No, they are about 175 centimetres each side and 4 centimetres deep. It was going to be 3 centimetres deep, but we made it a bit deeper.
Oh, they are bigger than I imagined, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so they're going to be, the architects have sort of, and the engineering team have got a plan of how it's going to be installed. Initially, I said I don't want to be installing it. I didn't want basically, I didn't design the way that it was going to go on the wall, and so that was my main reason. And I told them so many times, no, I don't want to install them. I changed my mind since then. So
really,
yeah, and I found a team of doing it. So hopefully, I'll end up installing them. Yeah,
it would be very impactful.
Oh yes, I can't wait. I wish there was light behind it. We've tried it. Me and Tessa tried to convince them to put light behind it, but a public artwork, especially if it's being paid by the people. I have to say and admit that the whole group was really mindful of the budget. I've heard of a lot of people complaining, they're throwing the budget and all that. Well, actually, they said, they're really taking care of the budget, I reckon, because it is public money, and at the end of the day, they're going to. Anyone can come and say, hey, where did you spend our taxpayers' money?
Yeah.
I guess. So, we had to go as far as we could go. Yeah.
I mean, looking at, I've made a little list actually of all the things that you're involved in with your work. And I find it very inspiring that you seem to be just such a go-getter, and you're just making stuff happen by being really involved, and it feels like you've really got your finger on the pulse. So you've had solo and duo exhibitions, many, and many group shows over the years. you do enter awards.
Yeah.
And you are often in festivals. You sometimes have your work at the Easter show in Auckland.
I used to, yeah.
You used to?
I used to.
And you have publications, lots of sort of publications and media and interviews with Radio New Zealand and other things like that. And sometimes you have participated in school art shows as well in the past.
Yeah.
And then you're also involved with Open Studios in Waitakere. So to me, it just seems, looking at your website, it's just like you've been involved in so much. How do you do this?
I get bored. I get bored easy, and one part is that. The other one is from the beginning, I realized that I had to enter awards and enter big exhibitions. I've won 8 awards up to now. The last one was at the Art in the Park, actually. I won the Sculpture Award for my big Iris. For my big Zoe, the huge outdoor work that I had there. So for many years, I stopped entering award exhibitions. And there's a lot of exhibitions that like every year, there's so many in my list that I end up missing them because I miss the deadlines, basically. I really miss deadlines. I'm a last minute person. And so, yeah, I wish I could put my name down and actually deliver work. Or sometimes I miss them because I'm unsure if I can actually deliver, and I never want to be invited somewhere and promise to deliver work where I cannot deliver it. I teach class. I love teaching. I talk to people. I get involved. I like it. I like educating people about glass casting because it's such an expensive medium, and I get a lot of comments about my expensive prices. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'd rather give my sculptures to my mates and my friends and relatives, so when I visit them, I can see it again, or to people that inspire me, or I'd rather give it for free than undersell myself. Because in a way, price is a different thing, different subject. But yeah, if I undersell, I stuff myself, I stuff my whole glass community. I in fact, I had a few conversations with other artists at Sculpture Shore that I thought their work was really underpriced, and I gave them a bit of a blah blah. Yeah, so yeah, no, I love doing all sorts of things with my art and being involved on a lot of different things.
And how do you keep track of that? Do you have a list and you just go out and make sure you apply or get in touch, or do people come to you, or a bit of both?
Yeah, people come to me, or new galleries come and knock at my door. I don't have many galleries, but I still do, could be in tons more galleries, but I think I'm a little bit more selective with my galleries these days and the spaces they exhibit. Basically, lately, my main source is the Big Idea, where I go under work minimum once a week, and I go through the list and open tabs. My computer is constantly full of hundreds of tabs open.
For proposals.
For proposals or deadlines, and I make lists. And we're talking tons of lists all the time. And from 10 things, I may do 1 or 2. So what you see is nothing compared to what I could do. I used to bash myself a lot years ago, saying, you could have done this and you could have done that, until, I'm more patient and more loving towards Sofia these days. And it's like, no, whatever happens, happens. Whatever doesn't. Clients come and ask for commissions or ask for events, or even there, I'm really selective. Even there, I'm working started working lately on a new commission for a client in England, which I think is really interesting and tricky at the same time. But, I've had other people from the last exhibition saying to me, I literally had a lady saying, I want a small version of what you made. And I said, no, because I'm in. Another friend artist told me off, but no, I'm still a no. Because it takes a lot. It's not going to give me much pleasure to make it into small. I know I'm not going to enjoy it. It's going to take a lot. It's still, the price is going to be huge. And so no, you know. So
Good on you.
I've got, I mean,
You've got to that point.
I've got to that point. It doesn't help economically always doing that. But I have to please me, because if I'm not happy, I procrastinate. There's no way I'm doing it.
And there's not much joy.
No, if there's no, well, I still do works that they, you know, I do them because they sell. I have to.
Well, it's
What
a
do we do?
reality.
Oh, yeah. I have to pay my, luckily I've got a small mortgage these days. But yeah, I have to.
Yeah, that's part of life as an artist.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, and it's amazing that you have built this reputation, and you've built a community of people who know you and know your work and come to you. I mean, that's a good position to be in, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
And
yeah.
you've done that.
Yes, it is. The more I stick with my glass casting, the more, the better it gets in a way from that point, you know. Yeah, there may be a new commission coming from Cyprus. There is, you know, there's a lot of talk. And so because I've got all that, I can pick and choose, you know.
And how have you managed to get commissions from out of New Zealand?
When I am in different places of the world, like for example, just in July, August, I was back home. I went and visited Greece for 3 weeks. The same time I visited my brother, who's got a new family and a new baby in Cyprus. And then I visited Cairo. I keep in contact with my favorite artists. I meet new artists. The commission from Cyprus may come from a new friend, glass friend that I went and visited, and Andrea was a really helpful, you know, individual. She asked a lot of questions about my glass casting. I gave her a lot. At the end, she mentioned her client, and I said, hey, can I have the name? So, you know, then I went and visited him. He's a collector who's got an amazing glass collection from all around the world. Callum, my English client, that is a really interesting project. He basically is a train enthusiast. He's got 2 brothers. I'm pretty sure it's 2 brothers living in New Zealand. And so he's been following the City Rail project. And they did a bit of a minute video with me about that project. And so he saw that. And, you know, some projects are tricky, others are not. That could be really tricky and really freaky project, for example, because he's renovating a 1700 townhouse in Manchester with all this history. Wow. And he basically said to me, you do whatever you want. And I'm like, the freedom of that is awesome, but it's also really scary. I mean, how do you create an artwork for somebody that you don't know? So basically, he sent me all these information about himself. Like I said to him, what do you like? And he sent me tons of visual photos of the place, of how it is. It's going to be an amazing building at the end. And so, yeah, I'm just going to throw proposals at him. I've had a lot of ideas. Even the way of me, you know, I budgeted the whole project and I gave it to him. Even that, now I'm looking at it and I go, ooh, a bit wrong, for example, because the first stage was for me to just give him the ideas verbally. And then from these, he picks 1 or 2 and then I make them into a maquette and budget it. But you see, I already threw an idea at him and there was a bit of nothing. And so I'm at this stage where without me communicating with him, I'm going on the next stage and making a couple of maquettes for him. I mean, I'm lucky because he's coming in December, I'm hoping, for a couple of days in Auckland. And so I will present him the maquettes there. I mean, my deal with him is if I throw him all these ideas and he doesn't like any, he can, you know, that's the end of the project. We don't need to continue. I don't like pushing anybody.
But it's so much work, isn't it? So much involved, especially if it doesn't actually come to anything.
Yeah, it is, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you'd rather that way than kind of soldier on when it's not feeling right.
That's it. So,
so it does seem like, you know, the more you're out there, the more you're out there.
That's exactly it. Like there's been times, especially after I broke up from my ex-partner after 22 years, that I found myself sort of hanging and having to deal with all the bills and the reality of life by myself on my artistic income. That was a scary thing, I'll tell you. I basically got a job, like a part-time job for about a year. That was entertaining lady for an old people's home.
Really?
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Oh, you'd be so good at that.
I loved it. Loved it. I quit because I'm not a person that can be controlled. Like, you can't tell me what to do in my life. I'll play your game, but so no, that was it. That was me.
That sounds interesting. And then, it's a different story, isn't it? When you don't have sort of another income supporting what you do, it kind of puts on that pressure. But how do you think you're coping with that now?
Look, the money is a tricky thing because it goes and comes, and there's a bit of dribbling, or there's nothing for months, and then big chunks of money coming in. And so with this money, it's I'll tell you what, because I'm not a person that ever took a proper job. Even on my 3D animation days, I'd do projects. I'd walk in and I'd be the only person, the whole building, advertising sort of big company, and I'd be the only person that I would arrive at 11, 12 o'clock midday and have the keys to lock the whole building at the end. I'm not a person that you can tell me what to do. I cannot tell myself what to do. Like when I put deadlines or hard, rigid deadlines on me, quite often I get frustrated. It's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I have to, I'm not really employable in that way.
Well, yeah, you're the perfect person to be self-employed.
Yeah, I love my work. I love my freedom. It doesn't mean that my work, it doesn't have the hard parts of it, but I love my freedom. And I've turned into teaching as well, teaching glass, which brings me good money. And I love teaching people how to do glass. But basically, I've gone lately and I've been following billionaires' advice of how to, be rich. And the best thing I got out of it is have multiple incomes. And some of them have nothing to do with my art. A lot of them don't. And a lot of them are like, I'm at the beginning of, But basically, it's all about changing the mentality. And, I want to be filthy rich. Filthy rich as an artist and as a person. And, that's to help me, myself, my friends, my family, my kids, my parents, these are my priority. My kids and my parents are my priority and some of my friends are struggling. It's like, bring on the money so I can spread them out again.
Yeah, so you can help others.
That's it. And I don't like the pressure of having to make all my money with glass because, I've had mentors saying to me, make a little range of this and that. I don't want to be making small works to sell because it's so much work. Like, I don't. I make them because I enjoy them and all that, but for me to make like a product for out there, no way. I'd rather go and work for a job where I don't have all that stress of, because it's really hard being an artist.
And also go and do a job that you actually get paid each week.
Yeah.
To do.
Oh my God, what is that?
I know.
What is that feeling? I look at other people and they're so, their money is so in line. It's like,
and it's predictable and all those
wish
things.
I had that. So
consistent.
I'm getting it in a different way. Yeah, I have to wear, as artists, we have to wear all these hats. I'm my own photographer. I am my own,
And it's difficult too because you're applying for funding potentially and you're putting in proposals. So you're doing all that admin.
Oh,
and
tons.
when are you supposed to do that when you're supposed to be also making work and, everything else? I mean, it's huge. We all know, all of the
It's
listeners
almost half my practice is that. The admin, from even buying material, ordering material, checking material, is it good? Has my plaster gone off? All sorts. I've trained myself how to fix my kiln lately during COVID. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about having great galleries, at least that they can kind of manage some of that marketing. So you're with Black Door Gallery.
I am with Black Door Gallery, with Te Uru Gallery, with I've produced work for both Te Papa and Auckland Museum a few years ago. I also have work at the Corbin Estate Art Centre in the shop. West Coast Gallery out west, and galleries out of Auckland. I was at the Wallace in Morrinsville. I've been approached by a gallery right now in Napier, Motueka, Wellington, Ora Gallery in Wellington.
And Whanganui? Brown and
Cove, Katie Brown. I haven't got any work down there at her gallery right now. Yeah, right now I'm in a point. I've got a sale tomorrow, and then after that, all my galleries are expecting me to give them out. Plus, I'm about to approach a new gallery that is sort of more professional, because I had a talk with them that I walked in and I saw big sculptural works in. And so it's like, ooh, okay, I didn't realize they have big works. So, yeah, because, I mean, my outdoor works don't necessarily all sell instantly once I exhibit them, and if I don't have them out there, then, I mean, the Black Door Gallery, for example, right now they have huge work of mine in their courtyard, which is a brilliant place. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it would
the sun sees it all day, and there's 2 or 3 restaurants around that courtyard as well.
And great in Parnell. Great community to be part of with your work.
Yeah.
And so you do have a lot of galleries. You have your work in a lot of galleries, which kind of connects too with the connections that you make sort of across the world. It seems to be the way that you work, which is amazing, because some people only have one gallery.
Yeah, no, let it be. Let the work fly out there. And yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm selective with my galleries. I've been to galleries where the people that deal with my work are scared of moving my work around. There's one specific gallery that as soon as I figured that out, I was out of there fast, because there is nothing worse than having a gallerist moving my work and being scared themselves. They pass that fear to the clients. And so I don't want anybody feeling that my work is fragile. Glass is fragile, A lot of people, when I first came to New Zealand, a lot of people said, oh, outdoor glass, you cannot have glass outdoors. Why? Nobody questioned that. Nobody ever questioned that. My favorite artist in Greece is Kostas Varotsos, who has created my ultimate favorite artwork, The Runner. It's a famous glass sculpture in Greece. We're talking massive, humongous glass sculpture, and people are like, no, I even had a conversation with a glass artist the other day outside my sculpture on shore work, where they were talking that, you can have huge outdoor glass. Like, why? Just explain to me why. Technically they would explain it as, if you don't anneal yourself properly, the work properly, then it can crack. Yeah, okay, it can.
That's part of the process, isn't it? Yeah, part of what you do. And speaking about process, we cannot finish this podcast without you talking about your process.
Okay, my process. It's a little bit old school, and I do things slightly different than other artists. I love working with clay, and so I create my clay sculptures lying down. If they're huge, then I end up climbing onto the table and taking photos, and then checking the photos, to see what I'm doing. I don't sketch anything before I get it. I just get straight on the clay and I go for it. Once I'm happy with my clay shape, I mix a plaster of Paris mold. I pour it over it. I turn the mold upside down, remove the clay. I replace the clay with hot melted wax. The wax solidifies. Then I remove the wax. At that stage, I perfect the surface of the wax. If it is a standing piece, which the majority of my works are, I melt the base in order for the artwork to be balancing properly, to the point that I tap the top of my work and I want it to see balance back, and then the weight of the wax times 4.2 gives me the exact amount of glass I need in volume, because otherwise, how do you know? So then I built my final mold over that. I removed the wax and I put my final mold, which is the refractory mold, into the kiln. Above that, I set a flower pot, literally a flower pot, and I placed the glass in the color of my choice inside the flower pot. Some of my works have 2 or 3 colors together, and that is just some colors I set in the mold, other colors I go above it. It's a sort of different process again there. And then once the mold is all set up in the kiln, I close the kiln. I turn it on. Once the glass has reached once the temperature has reached 830 degrees, the glass becomes molten like honey, runs through the holes of the flower pot and fills up my mold.
Wow.
I work predominantly with what we call is open cast molds. The difference is that if a mold is fully enclosing the whole work, and so there's a little hole for the glass to go through, that means that it's a totally different ball game, because then the time that the work needs to be in the kiln can climb up to, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, huge numbers. So for something that I cast in 10 days, it could be a month and a half, 2 months. I actually never really calculated, but I remember being shocked years ago. Anne Robinson, a pioneer in glass casting and really famous, especially in New Zealand, made the baptizing bath, whatever the proper name is, for the church at the top of Parnell, that big old church. Mm-hmm. That work, I remember her saying that she had it in the kiln for 6 solid months.
Really? Like cooking for 6 months?
Yeah, well, basically what happens is we close the kiln. Within a day, the glass has melted and is in the mold, and then it drops down to what we call annealing stage, where the glass needs to basically cool down really slowly, and all the particles of the glass need to be the same temperature as they cool down. Otherwise, the glass can hold stress in it, and this is why some glass artists used to say, don't have artworks out there, because glass is quite sensitive in difference of temperature. Like when the sun hits my glass heats up. Like it really gets hot. You touch it and it's hot.
Really?
So it can get really hot, and then a cold rain can come on it and crack it. Yes, it can happen if you haven't done the annealing properly.
Right.
And there's stress in the glass. I'll never forget when I was a kid, because my grandma was a bit of a glass collector. Lately, I've brought from Cairo a small collection of her glass, because she was mainly Italian. So basically, my work, once we go through that annealing, about, I don't know, for example, the works that I have now in the kiln, they're small works, but it's a 3.5 day firing, and I can't wait to go home, actually.
It must be so great.
Not because I don't want to talk to you, or I don't want to hang out with my Kimi girlfriend straight after that. But, I know by 8, 9 o'clock, my kiln will be ready for me to crack it open, as we call it, open and check.
And I love that part of the process for glass artists. It must be like opening Christmas presents.
That's exactly it. Well, that's the point. I see my work. Because up to then, it's all in my head. Yeah. Even on the wax, especially like right now, this firing is full of tiny little works sort of for Christmas and for my sale tomorrow. And it's colorful, because that is my place for me to experiment. If I want to experiment with colors or stuff up, I'd rather stuff up on something tiny.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So basically, once the kiln is ready, I open the kiln and the mold crumbles in my hands, and then the glass comes out. Sometimes I have people calling me back saying, "Oh, my work has a crack." I say, "Can you photograph it and send it to me?" And it's actually a lot of glass casting work comes out with what I call veins. You can see cracks on the surface. They're not cracks of the glass, they're cracks of the mold, because as the glass pours into the mold, because it has so much lead, it's quite heavy, way more dense. And by the glass traveling through the mold, it cracks the surface of the mold. So I hardly do any polishing on my works. It's a part of the process that I absolutely dislike. And that's another thing that when I started doing glass casting, everyone was like, oh, you have to fully polish your work. Oh man, I hated my life. I hated the whole thing about glass. And so I've perfected my surfaces and my mold making and the material and the dusts that I put on my molds for the glass to come out as perfect as I can have it. And the fact that I set my glass above the flower pot is to have nice rounded edge. Because if I put all my glass inside the mold, it'll still melt, but it gets a rough surface. All my work has a more foggy surface, which is the surface of the glass where the glass touches the mold. And the top one is always shiny, like window glass, like high polished pieces, flame polished. And that is because the glass doesn't touch any mold. So my work has the front and the back. You know.
And you've just perfected
I've perfected that
technique.
easy thing, yeah. Plus, I love going huge. And so the bigger, the better, as I said before. But how can you go big without having to fire it for days on? Or, I mean, I always, or not always, but some of the works need a bit of touching up here and there. Or some of them may have the front ridge of the piece highly polished. But that's for fun. That's for a bit of, I choose what I want to do.
Yeah, which is great. It's a good position to be in. And you're actually probably creating different new techniques in glass.
Yeah, yes and no, a little bit, and I mean, yeah, just a little bit,
That's great.
But there are a few glass artists who fully dislike that I don't polish. And collectors who fully dislike that I don't polish, but that's me,
and that's your style, and that's why your glass works are so unique and so beautiful because and that's why probably you can tell when it's one of your works because there's that sort of feeling about the glass, and that's to me what makes it feel really soft.
Thank you. Yeah, bring it on. Bring the softness in a hard material. Bring the movement in such a rigid material, and the light and the sun playing with the shadows and the light and different times of the day, different lighting. People come to my house and nighttime, and if they're into glass or art, they only see my bright colored works. The dark ones disappear in the dark. Some works glow all day, other works don't.
That's what's so beautiful about glass work, isn't it? It's just they change. It's like they have a sort of mind of their own.
Yeah, that's fun.
So good. Fun. Okay, well, we are 1 hour and 17 minutes in.
Holy guacamole! We were going to keep it at an hour.
I know. It's just so lovely, Sofia, to... I've just heard you talking to your daughter on the phone and speaking in Greek. And it's so rare for us to hear the Greek language in New Zealand. And it's really nice to have that, to have that connection with someone like you who's got that amazing Greek passion, which I just love.
Thank you.
And it's been quite a big thing, I imagine, for you to come to the other side of the world. And I know that you do have, you like to help people and you like to support people. I can see that. And in 2016, you led a group of volunteers to help with refugees in Greece.
Yeah.
And that was a humanitarian mission which left a big impression on you.
Yeah, well, I believe in helping our community. For many years I was a blood donor, then I stopped for whatever reasons for a bit, and I'm still keen to go back. I'm a habits person, even though it doesn't look like. If I get out of a habit, then I lose it. But I have been a surf life saver for many, many years. I'm part of Bethel's Surf Club and Karekare Surf Club lately. I just love the community and I love hanging out with, because to me it doesn't feel like I'm going to work. It feels like I'm going to hang out with my mates. And in the process, our eyes are open and we check for the safety of everyone. So, yeah, in a way, it's fun to be part of that. I've been on many committees and helped many kids doing art or whatever else, bringing up my kids. So, yeah, I love being part of the community. That was not many years ago. That was in 2016. I remember how traumatizing it was in a way, knowing that, because Lesbos, the same time, Syrian refugees, a lot of them would land in Lesbos, which is my grandfather's island. So in a way, looking at the news, I mean, similar to what's happening right now with Palestine and Israel, it's heartbreaking for me. But being just an observer, it's hard. And at the time, I remember going to the beach and feeling useless, because we would just, like, at the beginning of the season at the time, 2015, I think it was end of 2015, where I'd go to patrol and there'd be hardly anybody, and I'd be thinking how useless and how useful it would be if I was back there. And at the time I remember talking with a colleague and I said to him, I wish I was there. And he says, yeah, I wish I was there too. And so this is how things started, and we put together a small group. It was 6 of us. The group in Greece is called Lifeguard Hellas, and they had a lot of volunteers. And so they had a mission where they would go and literally save people. And so finding them, I started communicating with them and saying, how can we help? That experience was awesome for me to see the resilience and the dreams that these people had, like blown up legs. One of the refugee camps was with people that had like one missing leg, one missing arm, 2 missing legs, all sorts, broken hearts. You could see kids being wild and you could understand they've seen death and war with their own eyes. So coming back from that and talking to refugees there, and each one had big dreams. I want to get there and do this with my life and do that with my life. And coming back to New Zealand, where every second Kiwi would say to me, fucking bills and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oops, I swore. Do you want me to take it off?
It's fine.
Okay.
We don't mind swearing.
Okay. I'm glad, because that's me and I've been holding it back all this time.
No, let it go.
Okay, so coming back, and a lot of Kiwis were complaining about superficial things, and so that was part of one of the ranges of my work came out of that. My dreams range. It was all about dream big and you can do it. And actually, it's about mentality. Just stop being a pessimist. Just be positive. Yeah. We're all healthy. We're all happy. I mean, I can't stand victim mentality. I really cannot stand people that, it's like, okay, we all struggle. Life is not easy. But
we've got it pretty good here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Freak, yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to know if you'd stayed in Greece, Sofia, and sort of followed this creative path. Do you think your work would have been very different?
I would have definitely never tried glass. There's hardly any glass in Greece. I'm planning to go there and train people and start a glass movement.
That'd be amazing.
Day, yeah. I want to go and live back in Greece at some stage, especially as my parents get older. I'd like to go and support them as they did to me. Plus, I've missed my place. I reckon I would have kept being a 3D animator. Yeah, in Greece it's hard. There's not much government support. Like if you are on a benefit, you cannot be more than 3 months on a benefit. So if you've got no job, you've got no job. Yeah. Since the recession at the early 2000 and the change from drachma to euro, things economically have sort of gone down. And so the wages there are not good. But I reckon I would have stayed in what I was originally doing.
Yeah. It's lovely to see that you have been so influenced by New Zealand flora.
Yeah, I'm more of an ocean person, but I live in the bush. I live up in the Waitakere Ranges, and I love it.
Yeah,
I
beautiful.
love the shapes and the plants, and it gives me so much inspiration. And the wind interacting with it, and the light, depending on where the sun is. Oh yeah, I love beautiful. All that. I'm really grateful for the New Zealand land and the people. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll go and come back.
Oh, yes.
Got to come back.
Oh, yeah. And when I say I'm going, I'm not going yet.
Let's get on to the questions. What would you say to your younger artistic self?
Not much. I reckon, I don't have many regrets in life. But things that I would say is, for example, practice more with the thing that you're going to study before you go and study. For example, that 3D animation, if I knew from the beginning I'd hate being in a dark room, I would have never gone to study that. But anything I've studied is awesome and it's brought me here where I am today. So study carefully. I've always believed in myself, but I would say believe even more in yourself, because especially when I was younger, I would get influenced by people commenting, like I'd go and buy glass, and the John and John, as we call them, would comment on the size of my works and say, who commissioned that? And when they find out that nobody commissioned it, I just made it because I had to get it out of my system. They called me almost crazy, So there was a lot of worry or other people's opinions that today they don't even faze me, but some of them used to just faze me or alter my path, I guess. So another thing that I would say is do more life drawing. I reckon that's really important for all artists, even though I'm not really into drawing or painting. I hardly done any of that apart from my murals. And yeah, I have to comment on that. I did a painting a few years ago, and a friend of mine, a black and white photographer, came and saw it, and he was so amazed. He told me, he said, you should stop doing glass. You should do painting. It's more amazing. I reckon life drawing helps any artist with the eye, the visual proportions, whatever, the light, whatever. Another thing that I would say is go to therapy. I've only started doing therapy and working on myself really only lately, the last few years, maybe the last, 6-8 years. So go to therapy at the beginning. Yeah.
Good advice.
For a lot of things,
And what artists inspire you or influence you in some way?
Look, I can start and never stop. So I'll keep it as short as I can. Definitely Aristomenes Tsourlakis, as I said, my girlfriend's father when I was a kid. A huge name for me is Kostas Varotsos. If people don't know him or you haven't heard that name, go and check it out. He's an amazing glass artist who's also an architect and a lecturer. Right now he's got a beautiful work in front of the pyramids. So especially to that urge of me going huge and large, Kostas Varotsos has. Natalia Mela is another artist who passed away a few years ago. She was in her 90s, deep in her 90s, who used to work with another sculptor who used to work with metal. She did a bit of collage. She did a bit of rock or concrete. But at the end of her life, she would work with paper in her 90s. There's photos of her being in her metal workshop and cutting paper. And how I love that. I reckon an artist never stops being an artist. Another one is, I'll just throw some Greek old names that I've always sort of followed. It's more, for me, it's more sculptural work. I'm not really I've never really been into paintings, but Kapralos, Fros Ευθυμιάδη Menegaki, Philolaos, Takis, Kounelis. I know they sound all weird names to you guys, but hey, this is me. And then I'll start my New Zealand collection with Graham Madge, Gisborne, Tairafete. People know Graham Madge. He's muraled. He passed a few years ago. He's muraled the whole town, but I loved his wooden sculptures. Absolutely did. With my ex-partner, we had 4. And I'm going to throw some other names really fast. And these are my mates that I also admire, Chris Moore, Julie Moslin, Jenny McLeod, Anu Erutu, David McCracken. I mean, he's not really my mate. Like I hang out a lot at Corbin Estate. This is my community. And so I love artists from Chris Van Doren, Eloisa Montagna, Kevin Osmond, Peter Ture, Stephen Woodward, Tessa Harris, who I've collaborated on the manga for work. Sorry if I've missed you, my gorgeous friend. Galia Amsel, a glass artist. Yeah, there's Anne Robinson, definitely. Look, I can continue and we're going to throw our time out of the window. So next question.
Okay. As an artist, what's your biggest challenge?
Okay, I've already spoken about that. Money. But I found ways to get over that. Yeah. Sticking to it. My prices get higher. My reputation gets better. And yeah, other avenues bring it in.
Yeah.
Second and big important thing for me is it's only this year I found out that I'm ADHD. And that's been a huge revelation for me and a huge understanding. I used to bash myself for a lot of things. I'm a fidgeter, as we talked at the beginning. I'm not sure how I've managed to stay so still all this time.
In front of the mic.
Oh, exactly. So with that comes a lot of impulsivity, and it also comes a lot of procrastination on anything that does not pull me in, like that paperwork that comes with it. Please, guys, don't send me emails asking me to send you my bio or things like that. And the reason is basically because certain parts of my bio I don't like, or other people have changed it. Anyone who does work for me, I never really 100% like it. Not because they haven't done a good work, but because I haven't created it. So yeah, submissions take so much time. Applying for funding. Holy guacamole!
Yeah.
These are big handbrakes on my work.
Yeah, they really are on many artists, I think.
Yeah, but perseverance, and we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what drives you to make the kind of work you make?
Just being alive, being me. As I said, these are things that they have to come out. I have to make them, and so yeah, I've got amazing ideas about tons more outdoor big works and different big works, because as I said, I'm bored and I want to do, especially now that I touch with kinetic, I want to do even more. Yeah, if anyone hears me and wants to come and give me advice of what I make, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't, because there's absolutely no way I'm going to make it. I've got so much inside me. The only person that I haven't told please don't is my brother, who keeps, even on the latest artwork that I made, he didn't comment lately on me. He didn't we didn't have a conversation. One day I was like, so Kostas, what do you think of my work? And he said, didn't I told you that idea to make it years ago?
Really?
He's the only one that I'm not going to tell off, because I love my brother. Oh. And at least I have one person that tells me what to do. And I don't, people can tell me what to do. They go through one ear, get processed a bit, get out the other ear. Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. This brings us to the end, Sophia. I don't know if I want to let you go, because I have so enjoyed your effervescent energy.
Oh, thank you, Mandy. Same. I loved our conversation. I'm sure we're going to hang out again more after that. Don't you worry. We've organized already a dinner. I need to cook some Greek meal for you.
Food.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how there aren't many, or if any, Greek restaurants, not in Tāmaki Makaurau anyway.
There are a couple, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm coming to your place for a good Greek feed.
Yes.
And it's been a real pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to seeing all the amazing things that I know you're going to achieve in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for that opportunity.